Glad to have you with us here on this fabulous Wednesday morning as the sun is shining. Right now, tossing it over to Dr. David Parker with a candidate for Senate in the studio.
We're joined by Judge Russ Fagg here, who's a candidate for the U.S. Senate for the Republican nomination.
That's right.
So thanks for coming on to the show.
Good morning, Dave. Nice to be here.
So why are you running for the U.S. Senate? What's the story?
You know, simple. I love this country. I've got kids that are sophomores in college, twins. I love my kids. I'm just afraid they're not going to have the same opportunities that we've had. And I think we can do better. And I think Jon Tester's part of the problem. He's lost touch with Montana. And I thought, you know what? I love being a judge for 22 years. But I love this country, and I'm thinking it could move us in the right direction. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to run against Jon Tester. I just don't think he's representing Montana well.
22 years as a judge.
Right.
Think back across that whole time. Is there a decision you've ever made that you've regretted?
You know, honestly, I can't think of a decision I've regretted. There have been decisions that have kept me up at night, and I've thought, did I make the right decision? But at the end of the day, I can't think of anything I've actually regretted.
What's the skill set for that job, and how is that relevant to being U.S. Senator?
They're very similar. It's listening to tough issues, listening to two sides of issues, asking tough questions, and then making tough decisions. I handled 25,000 cases. Barely a week went by when somebody didn't cry because of a decision I made, usually a criminal law case or a family law case. And they're tough decisions, but you have to listen to both sides and come up with a decision and make the decision and move the ball forward. And I think that's exactly what we need to do in the U.S. Senate, and that's what we're lacking. There are 400 bills that Congress has passed that the Senate hasn't voted on. They just need to look at them, vet them, and then vote them up or down.
You had a pretty tough ad-on a couple weeks ago that was about legal immigration, had
Right.
Latino men, and some people said it was potentially racist. Are you proud of that particular ad, and why isn't it on YouTube anymore?
Well, first of all, it's not racist. It had to do with the meth epidemic in Montana, which is a huge problem. Everybody knows that. 99% of the meth comes across the Mexican border illegally. So my point is we need to secure the borders, and we've got a real problem with meth. Montana is a targeted area for the meth gangs, the Mexican gangs that bring it in here because of the high profits. And so that was the point I was trying to make. The reason it's not on, A, it ran its course. We were only planning to run it for 6 days. And B, we got a cease and desist order from Universal Pictures that said one of the images was copied and it was copyrighted. I talked to our producer and he said he got it off the public domain of Google, but rather than get into a protracted legal battle, I said, that's fine, it's already done on air. We'll pull it from YouTube and Twitter and every place else, and we were just done with it so we could avoid a legal issue.
So recently we had a big kerfuffle, controversy about Ronny Jackson and being
Right.
appointed to head the VA. Do you think, after all that we've learned, that he was a good candidate and that you could have supported his nomination?
I'll get to that, but first I want to say I think Jon Tester really blew it on that. That's not the Montana way. He assassinated an admiral in public with unsourced names. That's not the way we do it in Montana. You bring him into the room, you put him under oath, you ask tough questions, and then you bring those sources in, put them under oath, and ask them tough questions, and then you decide whether he should be the VA administrator or not. The way Jon did it was terrible. He's calling him names, the candy man. He doesn't give him a chance to respond. He does it in public with unnamed sources. Totally wrong. Just shows how out of touch he is with Montana. Now, I don't know whether he was the right person or not. He was an admiral. He's an incredibly talented person. I know he served under a Democrat, President Obama, and a Republican, President Trump, and apparently got good marks. So I think you need to bring him in and ask him those tough questions. Did these things happen? What's your explanation? And then decide whether you're going to vote for him or not.
Well, remember, folks, we've got a primary on June 5th, and Russ Fagg is one of the candidates. Thanks for joining us on the show, and stay with us, and we'll be right back after this break.